Hey guys, hope you're all doing great. I'm Ethan, and today we're diving into another set of wild Reddit stories. If you enjoy these deep dives, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss the next one. All right, fellas, let's jump right in. First story coming up. Much love, boys.
A stranger rolled his suitcase over my hardwoods at 7 in the morning and asked for the Wi-Fi. He stood in my kitchen in a denim jacket, blinking like a traveler, while my coffee maker sputtered to life behind him. I don't rent out rooms. We stopped that months ago. He had my address, my door code, and a smile that said he thought I knew why. "This isn't South Row Stays?" he asked, apologetic as if he'd walked into the wrong living room by mistake. "It's my house," I said. "Who gave you the code?" He looked down at his phone. "Leah. She sent it yesterday with the check-in message." Leah was my fiancée. I had proposed in our backyard in June under 2 string lights and a mosquito coil. She had cried, yes, and said yes. We had stopped Airbnb bookings in August because she said the constant turnover was eating her sleep. We were going to be a quiet house again. That's what we told the neighbors. That's what I told myself when the calendar felt empty and our savings felt thin after fixing the roof. The traveler's eyes darted. The morning light made dust float over the island. Somewhere in the neighborhood, a trash truck groaned. "I can go," he said, and moved toward the door like a fish changing direction. "Wait," I said, and my voice was steady because I make things for a living, and when something breaks, I start by naming it. "What name did Leah use?" He turned the phone so I could read the thread. South Row Stays. Profile photo of a front stoop I recognized because I built the planter on that stoop. The message was cheerful and efficient. Door code 1239, Wi-Fi is Copperfinch guest, text me if you need anything. Her voice lived inside the wording. I've read 100 messages written in that rhythm. I could hear her typing. "What did you pay?" I asked. It was a rude question. He answered anyway. "2 nights. $390 total with cleaning." That was an old number I used when the house still worked 3 jobs. It wasn't a number a stranger would choose at random. That number had our rent in it. That number was the roof, and the dentist, and the name of the dog we almost adopted. "I'm sorry," the traveler said again. "I can find a hotel. It said self-check-in." I swallowed. The coffee maker hissed behind him like a tired animal. "You're not wrong," I said. "You're early, that's all. Give me an hour, and I'll make the bed in the front room. You can drop your bag and get breakfast at Nora's. Best pancakes on the block." He stared like he was waiting for something to explode. Nothing did. My hands found motion before my mouth found words. I changed the bed in the front room while the stranger collected his things and perched on the steps like a kid. I put the kettle on. I texted Leah a simple question. "Did you give someone our door code?" I watched the 3 gray dots pulse and disappear. They came back and disappeared again. Then nothing. I sent another. "We have a guest." No reply. The stranger, he told me his name was Aaron, thanked me 5 times and left with his suitcase. My hands shook when I locked the door. I opened the drawer where we keep the little notebooks and the Sharpie and the batteries that may or may not hold charge. I wrote 2 words on a page. Who did? Who did? I am a contractor in the South Philly since I rebuilt kitchens and row houses that started life as 2 rooms and a coal stove. I can tell you why the floor sags toward the middle and how to keep the brick from sweating in August. I am good with wood because it tells you where it wants to go if you listen. People think houses are static. They are motion slowed down. Lee and I started leasing the spare bedroom 3 summers ago because an old client said we were silly not to. "It's found money," he said, and gave us his referral code. We were careful. We painted the room soft white. We bought linens that survived bleach. We were the kind of hosts who leave notes with bakery recommendations and extra toothpaste in the drawer. The guests were fine, mostly. The house learned to breathe on a schedule. We shut it off because breathing for other people started to crack something in the walls of us. That's what we said. The truth was messier. Business slowed. She was tired of strangers. I missed us cooking dinner in underwear without worrying that someone could show up at 9 with a suitcase and a story about a delayed bus. We agreed to stop. She took down the listing. I saw her do it. She wrote "no longer hosting" under our profile with a little heart. When the door closed behind Aaron, I walked to the router because that's where you start if you want to know who's been breathing your air. I typed the admin page address without thinking. Leah and I had picked the password together, a joke about our first date that would make no sense to anyone else. The page rejected it with a little shake. I tried again, slow and exact, rejected. Our Ring doorbell blinked in the afternoon light. I opened the app, I scrolled. 2 nights ago at 11:06 p.m., motion detected. A woman with a rolling suitcase, hood up, head down. The door opened 8 seconds later without the creak it made when only my hands held the knob. The code beat the creak now. 4 digits. They tapped like a sequence I used to know. Another entry 2 nights before that at 10:31 p.m. A man, different jacket, same suitcase like they shopped at the same store. Code, door, my house breathing for someone else. On the kitchen island, our ceramic bowl for keys held the ring. Leah had started leaving in it more often. She said it was safer there while she gardened. That dirt got under the setting. The ring looked small on the dish, like something the dishwasher might flip and swallow. I called Leah. Voicemail. Her recorded voice was bright and efficient and told you to text thanks. I didn't. I stood in the quiet and listened to my own breath and the small click the fridge makes when it decides you do not need more cold. At 9, Leah walked in. She set her tote down and smiled like a person walking into a story halfway through and liking what she hears. Who was our early bird? She asked. She kissed my cheek. She smelled like dryer sheets I didn't buy. His name is Aaron, I said. South Row Stays sent him. Her smile slid a little, then returned. That must be a mistake. Is it? She put her hands on the counter. We talked about this. You know I stopped listening. I told you I'd take it down because the noise was killing me. I did. I wouldn't lie to you. Then why is the router password different, I asked. Why does the ring show 2 arrivals this week? Why does a man I don't know our code? She reached for the ring and then stopped. Maybe it's left over. People reuse info. You know how it is. Let me check. She pulled her phone out and typed with the purpose of someone assembling a defense as she walks to the podium. I can go to the platform right now, she said. I'll show you. It's probably some third-party scam. They make fake listings. They scrape photos. They DM people and then ghost. I read about that. You sent him a check-in message, I said. He showed me the thread. She stared at me, then past me at the backyard, then down at her shoes. Her fingernail traced a little circle on the countertop. She does that when she lies and when she tells the truth. It's the worst habit for a man trying to learn. I wanted to help, she said. We're tight. The roof and the taxes and your slow month. I thought if I kept it low and careful, it would pay for itself and we wouldn't have to talk about money for once without someone breathing hard. Careful is changing the router password and not telling me, I said. Careful is giving strangers the code when I'm asleep upstairs. She crossed her arms. So I'm the villain because I tried to keep our heads above water. You're the villain because you tried to keep me out of the water I own, I said. We stood there, little paper flags on a battlefield, claiming our ground. I'll stop, she said finally. It's done. I'll cancel his booking and send it to a hotel. We can handle it. I made a mistake. You'll refund him, I said. From where? The cleaner's fund, she said. I keep a buffer. It's fine. The cleaner's fund. A new phrase that lived in our house but didn't have my key. We didn't fight. We talked in loops until the kettle cried again. She texted Aaron. She typed the message slowly so I could watch. She used the words oversight and compliance as if she practiced them. Aaron replied with a thumbs up. He'd find a hotel. He left the key on the hook and closed the door softly like a man who didn't want to wake a baby. Leah touched my arm as she walked by me. The contact felt like something we might run out of. At midnight, I couldn't sleep. I went back to the ring again, an odd motion at 30:41 a.m. the week before. Someone at the door with a bundle of white towels. The next afternoon, Leah had texted me a photo of that same afternoon in the park with a caption, sun on my face, I'm happy, no towels in that picture. The towels had lived somewhere else first. I wrote the name South Row Stays in the search box and found nothing that made sense until I searched the iCal link we used to sync bookings to our Google Calendar back when we were hosts. You can smell a URL when it's yours. There was a new calendar called South Row Private with an iCal address only someone with our old host backend would know to create. The events showed block owners stay on weekends when the neighbors had texted me about extra cars. I followed the breadcrumb trail through the link to the host page. The photos were ours, but they were cropped tighter. The butcher block we sanded, the plant we moved. The dog statue Leah put on the bookshelf and then took down because it was too literal. The text described 2 blocks from South Street, quiet, respectful self-check-in. The payout account did not show, but the host name did, South Row Stays. Co-hosts L. Hart and Jay Klein. Jay Klein was a man Leah used to date. She said they were friends now. He had the kind of jaw that belongs in bachelor party photos and an Instagram full of rise and grind. My hands went cold like I had touched steel in January. In the morning, I went to Nora's for pancakes because eating is something you can do when thinking makes your body feel like a broken wire. Nora pours coffee like a blessing and knows when to not ask. You got a lot of guests for someone who quit hosting, she said, not unkind. Saw the roller bags yesterday, thought you changed your mind. Something like that, I said. Nora nodded. Leah was here last week with that guy who's too tan for this time of year. They asked if we had wholesale pastries. I think they're doing parties. People do parties. Jay Klein, I asked. She shrugged. He said he could sell me on a subscription. I said I already have a husband. He laughed. I didn't. My phone buzzed. A deposit notification from our joint account when a client pays one of my invoices. I live on those pings. This ping was small and personal. A withdrawal, $1,200 at an ATM in Bella Vista, memo unit hold. It matched the number Aaron had said out loud. I went to work and cut wood all afternoon so I wouldn't cut something else. Sawdust has a way of making all problems feel like math. At 5, I called my friend Dev, who writes code for money and honest interfaces for sport. I need help without a sermon, I said. He listened. Then he said, the iCal confirm is the tell. If she mirrored your calendar into her host account, she is not a victim of a platform scam. She is the scam. Think payouts. That's where it lives. If the money is going where you think it is, you'll find an LLC with a Stripe feed. Stripe, the heaviest word in the lightest font. I looked up South Row Stays on the State Business Registry. There it was. South Row Stays LLC. Managers, Leah Hart. Joshua Klein. Registered agent address, a mailbox store on Washington Avenue. The formation date was a month after we stopped hosting. Dev's voice softened. You okay? I will be, I said. That night, I put the ring on the island back in the bowl because it had wandered toward the edge. I sat with the notebooks and wrote a list in real ink so I could show myself I wasn't dreaming. Ring router changed. Ring door entries. iCal South Row private. Airbnb crop photos. State registry LLC. Bank 1200 ATM. Cleaners fund unknown. I added one more line when I went to take out the trash. A crumpled receipt on top of the bin, not ours. A wholesale pack of hotel-grade detergent from a distributor in Lindenwold. I smelled it and found the smell in our sheets from last week. That is what makes your stomach turn. Not code. Starch. Leah came home and put her tote down and saw me at the table with the list. She looked at the list like it was a dog she didn't want to meet. "This is not how you do this," she said. "How do I do this?" I asked. "You talk to me. You don't make a case like a cop. You don't go digging in things you don't understand." "Do you want to explain the LLC?" I asked. "Or the calendar, or the cash withdrawal memoed unit hold?" She flushed. "You stalled at work and needed me to fix everything, and now I did, and you're mad because I didn't ask permission first." "You use my house as inventory," I said. "You use my name to keep the lights on while you split tips with your ex." She tilted her head. "He knows distribution. He has contacts. It was just a stopgap until we were stable. We were going to tell you." I repeated. "That's a useful tense." She moved around the island and reached for my hand. "I'm not sleeping with him," she said, "if that's what this is." "It wasn't," I said. "The word wasn't had a taste I will not forget. It's a lot of things before it's that." She let go of my hand like it had burned her. "What do you want from me?" "Logins," I said. "Payouts. I want to see where the money goes. I want to hear you say my house is not a thing you can sell out from under me." She stared at the counter and then at me. "If I give you the logins, will you calm down?" "If you give me the logins, I will know if I'm supposed to calm down," I said. We spent the next hour pulling passwords out of her password manager and sending two-factor codes to her phone. South Row's dashboard showed 23 bookings since September. Average 2 nights, average payout 68 per night after fees. Payout split 70-30 to South Row, Stays LLC, and J. Klein Management Services. That last name looked like a joke. Administrative assistants scribble on a post-it to make fun of a man. The roommates on the internet had paid $6,400 to sleep in my house. A fraction of that had found our bills. I wanted to be loud. I wanted to throw plates like they do in the stories where men show you how solid they are. I did not. I wrote the numbers down. I stopped when my hand started to tremble. I called a lawyer in the morning because sometimes the only way to not scream is to put money on the table and buy a sentence that starts with according to. He listened. He asked for screenshots. He used the words civil and criminal and told me one could help the other but not to expect the other to do the first one's job. He said to secure what I could and stop what I couldn't living inside my house. I changed the locks, and I hated doing it. Leah watched me from the steps and did not cry. "This is a line I can't unwalk," I said. "You're dramatic," she said. "You're making me the enemy because I didn't sit around while you chased invoices." "You turned my street address into your side hustle," I said. At noon, I drove by a coffee shop near Passyunk because Nora had said she'd seen Leah there with Joshua once. I do not recommend being the kind of person who goes to look at things you don't want to see. I became that person anyway. They were at a two-top by the window. Leah's ring finger was bare. She leaned forward and Joshua laughed and tapped his phone and then turned it to show her something. She smiled. It was a smile I had thought belonged to me. I walked in because there are moments your body moves before your head votes. "Good morning," I said. "Wholesale pastries or just inventory planning?" Leah startled like I had caught her stealing apples at a farm stand. Joshua sat up, his shoulders widening like a man on a gym bench. "This isn't your scene," he said. "It is exactly my scene," I said. "My house, my router, my door, my laundry." Leah put a hand on the table. "We can talk at home." "We're kind of running a meeting," Joshua said. He smiled a salesman's smile. "Be a pro." I ignored him. "How much of me did you sell?" I asked Leah. "Just the spare room? Or the part that believes you when you say you'll stop?" "Not here," she whispered. "Please." Something in me softened, not to the word please, at the crack in her voice. This is the part in the psychology articles where they tell you men are trained to hold their feelings like heavy boxes. I put the box down. I left the cafe. I didn't go home. I went to the police station and filed a report for unauthorized entry and presented printouts of my own doorbell logs like evidence of a small crime. The officer behind the glass took my statement and did not say marriage. He did say civil. I expected that. I walked out with a number on a card. It didn't fix the ache. It gave it a file. The platform investigation took 4 days. I sent their trust and safety team the screenshots and the payout splits and the iCal link and the crop photos. They wrote back with sentences built by lawyers and split with disclaimers. Then they wrote a shorter sentence. "We have removed South Row stays and all associated host accounts." Leah moved into her sister's for a week or two. She did not ask if she could take the ring. She took it. I let her. It had already left. Joshua texted me at midnight on a Tuesday. He wrote, "You think you're the first man to get left behind by growth?" Then he wrote, "This won't stop us." Then he wrote nothing else again. 2 weeks later, Nora called me at 7. She said Leah had come into the diner and left her wallet. I went to pick it up because muscle memory does not pause when the heart declares bankruptcy. In the wallet was a folded note and a hand I did not recognize. "Thanks for letting us crash best sheets we've had on the road. Tell your cleaner she's a pro." People are kind. even when they don't know what they are endorsing. I put the note on the counter at home and stared at it until my eyes stopped stinging. We met a mediator because lawyers love paper, but sometimes you need a person in a room to say you will speak and you will listen and you will not burn down things that didn't hurt you just because one thing did. Leah wore a sweater I had bought her our first winter and the ring in her little hand like a coin. She slid it across the table to me and did not make a speech. I thought it was survival, she said. It felt like survival. It felt like being strong for both of us because you were tired and not winning and I wanted to win for us. You don't win for us by making me the last to know, I said. She looked at the mediator and then at me. I did not sleep with him, she said. I don't know if that helps. It probably doesn't. It doesn't change the things you signed, I said. It changes other things, not the ones we have to write down here. We divided what needed dividing. It is unromantic to list it. I will not. The mediator said our names like a teacher with attendance. I signed papers with the hand that had built her a planter once and fixed a loose shelf and held her hair when she was sick from street tacos that lied about their spice. We stood up. We did not hug. That's a small mercy no one tells you about. You don't have to hug the person who sold your house without leaving. Leah tried to get on with a different startup in Fishtown that flips apartments into experiences. The founder sent me a DM asking for a character reference. I told him she makes rooms look beautiful and spreadsheets look like power and she will move fast enough to forget your policy. He thanked me and did not hire her. She texted me a week later. It was 3 words. I am sorry. I wrote back 9. So am I. We are going forward separately. I changed the router password to something so boring it will never be a joke. I installed separate access on the door lock so every code can be revoked without bleeding. I put the linens in a closet and the smell of the hotel detergent faded. The house learned how to breathe again. It felt like winter air, thin and honest. Nora slides me pancakes sometimes without charging because she knows what it feels like to be a person and not a case study. Neighbors stop texting me when roller bags go by. They go by anyway. They always will. This is a city. I nod at the people who walk too fast carrying a life in a square suitcase and hope they're headed to a place where someone is waiting for them with real permission. It's not a clean ending. It's not meant to be. I go to work. I cut wood. I stop when the light is more shadow than warmth. Sometimes I stand in the doorway of the front room and remember how it looked with a book on the nightstand and a note under a coaster telling a stranger where to find the best cannoli and the worst tourist traps. That version of us isn't wrong. It's just over. A week ago, Dev and I sat on the back steps and picked splinters out of our palms and he said, "You know the trick with houses? They will always tell you the truth about themselves if you watch long enough." People do too, I said. He nodded. But people know how to dim the porch light. I laughed for the first time in a way that didn't feel like a cough. We sat there and watched the string lights drink the last of the evening. The city hummed. The fridge clicked. Somewhere a siren threaded its way through a block I couldn't see. I went inside and wrote down a sentence I want to be true. Trust is building a door together and agreeing not to sell the key. Do you think using someone's home without consent is just hustle? Or does the line get drawn the second the first code is shared? If you found proof of a scheme like this, would you confront in public or quietly pull the plug and let the fallout happen? Like, comment, and subscribe if this hit somewhere you didn't know still hurt.